Anantharam-Monologue, literally translated as again from Malayalam. Adoor says the film is about different ways of storytelling itself. For many, it's a complex film, but for connoisseurs, Anantharam is a brilliantly structured creation of Adoor. Anantharam is perceived as almost a psychoanalytical movie and totally different from all the other movies which you have made before Anantharam. It has certain detailed analysis of young person or young human being growing up. Can one call it a psychoanalytical movie?
As I have conceived it, it's about the process of storytelling. How do you tell a story? How do you create, for instance, an artist creates? At the very basic level, you have the experience. Then there is a recollection of this experience, which you call memory. Then the third element is imagination. An experience is taken into memory, and memory is ordered according to the imagination of the writer or the creator. Memory is not always a replica of the experience, because when the memory comes, depending on the period between the time of your memorizing it and the actual experience, many changes would have taken place. So you pick and choose those experiences from your past to tell a story. So in this case, basically I am dealing with two stories. One is that of when he was an extrovert. He talks about himself. He says, I was too brilliant for a very, very ordinary society.
Childhood.
I was too brilliant for them to contain. So they try to suppress me. The second story is that of here it's an introvert. As an introvert also, one can become very active. All the creativity, is fed on by the circumstances in which the child grows up. So it reaches a point where he cannot distinguish between the real and the imagined. It is not fantasy, but then it is real things. But then how you perceive a reality. I am telling these two different stories. It may look like different stories of the same person, but it is not. So there is a duality built into the psyche of this character. In fact, he is when he starts telling the story, he is on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and he is trying to find ways of conveying it, how he arrived at this stage. So these are the two stories. And also in storytelling, that's a very important thing. The person who perceives it, or the person who experiences the story, he believes the story that is told. For him, it is a total representation of life. For the reader, it is a full experience. But the perceiver or the reader doesn't realize that what you have been exposed to is only a reality within the frame.
Yes.
You move the frame a bit and then the reality is altered or even negated. This is the thing.
That characterization, I think, it's very unique. It's like one reminds of Herman Hesse's novel Step and Move. Everything around is normal, but he thinks that things are not normal.
Yes. These things we all have in ourselves. So it is only examining that aspect of it through a story, through an autobiographical story. Because the character himself is narrating his story. My wife, after her delivery in the hospital, she came back and told me about a child which was being brought up in the hospital. Somebody left the child in the hospital. That set me thinking, what will he become when he grows up? How would he look at the world? What will be the kind of life he is going to live, etc. So it slowly takes on other dimensions. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I'm interested in doing that, because you have to go beyond. How do you do that? You can tell a story in 100 different ways.
Yes.
But it has to be novel, it has to be new, it has to keep interest of the audience in it.
There are a few people who think that Elipatayam and Anantharam are the best two films of your 12-part system.
Different people have different
According
choices.
to their this thing.
So I say it is natural, because how do you make friends with someone? You have something in common in the other person. That's how you make a friendly chord. You bring in your own personal experience to the appreciation of a film. That's how you have preferences, this way or that way. But I am lucky because they are all choosing different films, not just one film or two films.
He uses the Kerala countryside life fully to reveal the personality development of the protagonist Ajay. As Mrinal noted, a film operating at diverse levels of perception with different meanings to different people. Indeed, all great films operate on different levels for different people, and Anantharam falls in that category of greats.